All right, so this is the engine out of my Bendix Mustang, and I thought I'd show you my theory on rebuilding these things. You can get rebuild kits, obviously, all the gaskets and the valves for these engines, but sometimes when I buy these off auction sites and it's clear they haven't been run that many hours, I don't really think you need to invest in a rebuild kit per se. They just need to be cleaned. This one's a little tight, but the compression's good. I already checked the glow plug that was on it, and it was dead, probably just from 50 years of just being exposed. So I selected a good replacement from my spares. So oftentimes, I assembled what I usually use to clean these up. I have a little bit of wet dry sandpaper, some oil, obviously the wrench to get the glow plug off, and basically all you need is a tweaker to get these things all apart. So let's see if I can do this on camera. Maybe not, so I might have to take it apart after and then show you. Oh well, here we go. So it's just 4 screws. Obviously it's had a lot of some fuel on it, and it's, typically what I find is these are a little bit corroded inside, and they just need to be a little cleaned up. I haven't done a real good job of keeping track of my success with rebuilding these things. The one I did a baby B for the PT19 that I got, that the first blue one that I wrecked. I still have that engine, and it's going into another PT19, but I did just a basic cleanup on that engine, and it ran fine. Everything was original, the glow plug, everything. I've rebuilt a couple of these for my Corsair, and I don't know if it worked or not. I can't figure out why the orange Corsair won't run right. I don't know if it's a problem with glow plugs or a problem with fuel delivery. But even though I swapped in, newly rebuilt, professionally rebuilt side mount engines, it didn't make a difference. I still had problems. So, but then that same engine I did put in my Miss America, and it did run. I think the problem with that one was a little bit of fuel delivery problem, and then the engine mount was not great, so I think the vibration made it shut off. So I got one screw here that's pretty banged up. I don't know if somebody's been in this thing before or what. So I might have to get a replacement for this one. Let's see, it's coming out. Looks like it got hit by something. It's pretty distorted. Do you see that? No, you can't. Wow, that's hard to get a tool on that. So I have to go into my box of junk engines and take another screw out and replace this one because it's pretty bad. Might also have another complete postage stamp back plate. So this would be like a postage stamp engine. So you can see there's a gasket here. And it's, you know, it's stuck in place. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not even gonna take that gasket off. It's a little tight. I think the cylinder's maybe a little corroded, dirty. Try a little oil. See, it's already loosening up. So it seems like it's notchy. See, the cylinder head's tight. The cylinder's tight. Yeah, it's got a little, I think it's just gummed up. So it's already super loose. I think that notchiness will go away when it runs. It's already starting to go away, so it's starting to clean off. Oftentimes when I fire these old engines, you know, and I'm sure there are people who will comment that, you know, there's proper ways to clean these up, but I just don't have the, you know, interest in buying a jewelry cleaner or putting, and my wife's not gonna let me put antifreeze on the stove and stuff like that. So, so oftentimes when I clean these engines up, you know, I do get them the best I can. And when they run, they kind of spit out some garbage, you know, some dirty looking oil for a part of a run, and then they seem to run fine. So this one is spinning freely. So, and it's just a little notchy. I think that'll just wear in or clear. So the other issue is the back plate. You know, it feels pretty good. Obviously, it's got some staining from years of sitting, and the needle is not super loose, but typically once you get some fuel in them, they loosen right up. I'm going to take this needle out. And I'm just going to leave that spring. It seems to be happy there. That needle feels corroded. So I will clean that off, or I probably have other ones that I could put in there. This whole assembly is available from, you know, EX model engines or Cox International, so you could just replace it. I was curious why this screw was so badly damaged. Maybe that was the factory or something. Just see, it's not great. So I have to shut down. I have to put this up to the light, see if I can see through there. I think this, obviously this intake is going to be gummed up, so I'm going to clean it out with some WD-40 and a piece of wire or something. I don't think it's, you just don't want to scrape it up inside. You just want to kind of clean it out. These little C-clips hold the reed. This is a metal reed. And oftentimes you'll see they have just a little bit of corrosion on them. Let's see. I guess they're brass or copper. I think they're brass or copper. I don't know. They leave a little green residue. But I find, so you can see. So what I do typically is put a little oil onto a piece of sandpaper and I just buff these off, and they seem to be like new after you do that. So I'm gonna do those steps off camera, and then we'll come back and see how the whole thing sounds after I get it back together. Okay, this is the Bendix Mustang engine. It's all cleaned up. So I cleaned the reed, like I said, with the little sandpaper. The inlet to the fuel, to the needle, was really clogged. You couldn't even get like a straight pin through it or anything. So what I wound up doing is using a pin vise drill. I started with a very small bit and just drilled through I guess it was just built up like castor oil and stuff in the circuit. So I pushed that through, and then I went up to a slightly larger and cleaned it out. Finished with a bit that was, you know, just about the inlet size, but I didn't run that last bit all the way through because I didn't want to destroy the needle seat. Cleaned it with WD-40, looked down the barrel from the reed side to make sure that this intake was clear. You can put a piece of fuel hose on there and blow through it. I ran a lot of WD-40 through it. Reassembled it basically. Put the glow plug on tight, and you could basically hear, after a few flips, it'll give you that Cox pop. I'm trying to use, I probably should have put a little bit more oil on the reed, but I don't, think that oil burns per se, so I don't want to clog the engine up with oil. So basically I'm going to put this in the plane. I did repair the fuselage, and the lower cowl had to be repaired. Hopefully that'll hold. It's still a tad loose. I don't think it's unrealistically, the engine does have a little wiggle. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of aluminum tape here on the tabs just to kind of take up that tiny bit of space and put the engine in tight. And let's see if you can see the fuselage. So the engine drops in like this, and then the fuel line goes over here, and there's a little notch in this side of the cowling here. Right here is where the fuel line goes through. So it's always kind of a challenge to get everything lined up and put together. So I'm going to do that, and then I think it'll be done. The next thing will be to take it out and see if it'll actually run. I've kind of learned my lesson. You got to go out and get a test run in and get the needle set and make sure it's going to actually run when you want to go out to try to fly it, or else you're just frustrated. So I will see you in a little bit, because I'm going to drag out the green Mustang and start on that. So we'll do this whole process over again, basically.